The Vatican is the headquarters of the Roman Catholic Church, no doubt, but don't be tempted into thinking that's all there is to it. This Roman sacred ground is also a treasure trove of antiquities, long-forgotten documents, underground canals, ancient artifacts, and artworks dating back to when the first clock wasn't even invented. Marveling, isn't it? You must have heard about this before now, but not so much to form an impression from. If you're anxious about learning what secrets there are, you've come to the right place, because in this video, I will reveal 10 secrets the Vatican kept from everyone else, including you. Keep watching. Number 10. The Vatican Archive. The Vatican has a secret archive that contains millions of documents, some dating back to the 8th century. Only a few scholars can access it and request specific documents in advance. The archive is said to contain evidence of scandals, intrigues, and controversies involving the Church, such as the trial of Galileo, the Knights Templar, and the alleged existence of Jesus' bloodline. The Vatican's secret archive was established in 1548 by Pope Paul IV, who separated it from the Vatican Library. The archive contains millions of documents that span 12 centuries, some of which are of great historical and religious significance. They include the letter from Mary, Queen of Scots, to Pope Sixtus V, written shortly before her execution by Queen Elizabeth I in 1587. In the letter, Mary appeals to the Pope for her life and denounces the Protestant heretics who condemned her. The papal bull of Pope Leo X, which excommunicated Martin Luther in 1520 after he refused to recant his 95 Theses, which sparked the Protestant Reformation. And finally, the trial records of Galileo Galilei, who was accused of heresy by the Inquisition in 1633 for defending the heliocentric theory of Copernicus. The documents show how Galileo was forced to recant his views and sentenced to house arrest for the rest of his life. Number 9. The Demon Exorcist. The Vatican had its own chief exorcist, Father Gabriele Amorth, who performed over 160,000 exorcisms in his tenure, some of which lasted for hours or days. He also believed that Satan was behind many of the evils in the world, such as wars, corruption, and sexual abuse. Father Gabriele Amorth died in 2016 at the age of 91. He was a priest of the Society of St. Paul and an exorcist for the Diocese of Rome since 1986. He also founded the International Association of Exorcists in 1990, which has the approval of the Vatican. Amorth blamed the devil for the divisions within the Church, the rise of secularism, and the popularity of Harry Potter and yoga. He taught other priests how to recognize and expel demons, using the rite of exorcism and the prayers of the Church. He also used holy water, crucifixes, and relics as exorcism tools. He said that the signs of demonic possession included speaking in unknown languages, showing superhuman strength, and having an aversion to anything holy. Number 8. The Secret Tribunal. The Vatican has a secret tribunal called the Apostolic Penitentiary, which deals with the most severe sins only the Pope can forgive. These sins include desecrating the Eucharist, violating the seal of confession, attempting to kill the Pope, and ordaining women as priests. Pope Alexander III established the tribunal in the 12th century. They wanted to offer mercy to those who committed grave offenses against God and the Church. The tribunal comprises the major penitentiary, a cardinal, and some other officials sworn to secrecy. The tribunal receives petitions from the faithful, who confess their sins and ask for absolution. The tribunal then decides whether to grant or deny the pardon, or to impose some conditions, such as penance, restitution, or excommunication. You might wonder why anyone would confess such serious sins to the tribunal instead of keeping them secret. The Catholic Church teaches that confession is necessary for salvation, and that the Pope can forgive any sin, no matter how grave it is. Besides, the tribunal is very generous and compassionate, and rarely denies a pardon to a sincere penitent. So, if you ever commit a sin reserved for the Holy See, don't despair. Write a letter to the Apostolic Penitentiary and hope for the best. Number 7. The world's most criminal city. It might come off as an irony that the most criminal city on earth is not in the US, Spain, Mexico, India, or China, but the Vatican itself. The Vatican has the highest crime rate in the world, with 1.5 crimes per citizen. The city has no prison and only one judge, so most offenders are transferred to Italy or banned from specific areas. The crime rate might sound shocking, but don't worry, the Vatican is not a den of thieves and murderers. This high crime rate is because the Vatican has a tiny population, only about 800 people, but receives a considerable number of tourists, about 18 million every year. This creates a massive imbalance between the residents and the visitors, and also a lot of opportunities for petty crime, such as pickpocketing, shoplifting, and purse snatching. Most of these crimes are committed by the tourists themselves, who take advantage of the crowds and the distractions in the Vatican. The Vatican's crime rate does not reflect its moral or spiritual state, but rather a statistical anomaly caused by its unique situation. The Vatican is actually a very safe and peaceful place where you can enjoy the beauty and the history of the Catholic Church. Just be careful with your belongings and don't buy fake tickets from the street vendors. Number 6. The Vatican Radio. The Vatican has a secret radio station called Vatican Radio, which broadcasts 45 languages to over 200 countries. Guglielmo Marconi, the inventor of radio, also contributed to the establishment of the station. The radio station has played an essential role in the history of the Church and the world, especially during World War II, when it denounced the Nazi atrocities and defended the rights of the oppressed. The station also has a powerful transmitter that can interfere with other signals, causing complaints from neighboring countries. It was established in 1931 by Pope Pius XI and has been run by the Jesuit order since its inception, with over hundreds of journalists. The radio station also serves as a lifeline for many people who are isolated or persecuted, such as Father Luigi Macaulay, who was kidnapped by jihadists and listened to the Pope's Mass on a rickety radio. The Vatican Radio is not just a means of communication, but a mission of evangelization and fraternity. So if you ever feel lonely or curious, tune into the Vatican Radio and listen to the Pope's voice. You might learn something new or feel a bit closer to God. Number 5. The Secret Army. The Vatican has a secret army called the Swiss Guard, responsible for the security of the Pope and the Vatican. The Swiss Guard is also known for its colorful and distinctive uniforms, which date back to the Renaissance and are said to be inspired by the Medici family. The Swiss Guard is the Pope and the Vatican's personal escort and security force. It is often called the world's smallest army, as it often consists of only 135 men. The Swiss Guard was founded in 1506 by Pope Julius II, who wanted to hire the best soldiers in Europe to protect him and the Church. The Swiss Guard has a long and proud tradition of loyalty and bravery, and has defended the Pope and the Vatican from many enemies and dangers. The most famous example is the sack of Rome in 1527, when 147 Swiss Guards died fighting against Emperor Charles V's troops, while the rest escorted Pope Clement VII to safety. The Swiss Guard wears different uniforms for different occasions, such as blue doublets for everyday duty, red and yellow striped tunics for ceremonies, and armor and helmets for special events. The Swiss Guard is a ceremonial unit and a professional and modern army trained in unarmed combat and small arms. Number 4. Secret collections. The Vatican has a secret art collection estimated to be worth billions of dollars. The collection includes paintings, sculptures, tapestries, and various historical relics. The collection is closed to the public, and only a few experts can study it. The popes have amassed the collection since the 15th century. They acquired or commissioned artworks from some of history's most famous and celebrated artists, such as Michelangelo, Raphael, Caravaggio, and Bernini. The collection is also very diverse, ranging from ancient Egyptian and Etruscan artifacts to modern and contemporary pieces such as the Sistine Chapel, with its ceiling and altar wall decorated by Michelangelo, depicting scenes from the Bible and the Last Judgment. The Raphael rooms, with their frescoes by Raphael and his pupils, illustrating the themes of theology, philosophy, poetry, and law. The Gallery of Maps, with its 40 panels of maps of Italy and the Papal territories, was painted by Ignazio Danti in the 16th century. The Shroud of Turin, believed by some to be the burial cloth of Jesus Christ, bears his image and wounds. The Vatican's art collection is a treasure trove of beauty and history, and a testament to the Church's patronage and appreciation of art. So, if you ever get a chance to visit the Vatican museums, don't miss the opportunity to admire some of the finest masterpieces of human creativity. Number 3. Castel Gandolfo Observatory. The Vatican has a secret observatory that is located in the papal summer residence of Castel Gandolfo, about 25 kilometers from Rome. The observatory is run by Jesuit astronomers who study the stars and planets and engage in dialogue with other scientists and religions. The Vatican's observatory is one of the oldest astronomical institutions in the world, dating back to 1582, when Pope Gregory XIII formed a committee to study the reform of the calendar. The observatory was officially founded in 1891 by Pope Leo XIII and has 2 locations, one in Castel Gandolfo and one in Tucson, Arizona, where it has access to some of the world's largest and most modern telescopes. The observatory has made several contributions to the field of astronomy, such as the discovery of several asteroids, comets, and lunar craters, the development of new techniques for classifying stars according to their spectra, which recalls the pioneering work of Angelo Secchi, a Jesuit astronomer who worked at the Roman college in the 19th century, and the promotion of dialogue between science and faith, and the reconciliation of the Church with Galileo, who was condemned by the Inquisition in 1633 for defending the heliocentric theory. The observatory is not a contradiction, but a confirmation of the Church's interest and support for science. Number 2. Vatican's secret bank. The Vatican has a secret bank called the Institute for the Works of Religion, IWR, which manages the finances of the Church and its entities. The bank was founded in 1942 by Pope Pius XII, who wanted to provide for the works of religion and charity. The bank is not a typical one, as it does not offer loans or mortgages, has no branches, ATMs, or online banking, but only accepts deposits from clergy, religious orders, and Vatican employees. The bank is also very secretive, lacks transparency, and has been involved in several scandals and controversies, such as money laundering, fraud, and corruption. One of them was the Alperin versus Vatican Bank lawsuit, in which the Vatican Bank was sued by Holocaust survivors who claimed that the bank had received and laundered stolen gold and other valuables from the Nazis and their allies. The case was dismissed by a U.S. court in 2010 after a decade of legal battles. The bank has been nothing but a public ridicule to the Vatican, and Pope Francis, on his election in 2013, said that the bank must serve the Church and the poor and not become a den of thieves. He has also put several regulations in place to forestall its transformation. So, if you ever have money to spare and want to support the Church's mission, you might consider opening an account at the Vatican Bank. Just make sure you have a valid ID, a letter of recommendation, and a good reason to do so. Number 1. The Vatican Pharmacy. Though not really a secret, the Farmacia Vaticana is said to be the best in the world. The Vatican Pharmacy is the only one in Vatican City and was founded in 1874 by Eusebio Ludwig Frohnmann, a Fete Bene Fratelli monk. According to Vatican sources, it is the busiest pharmacy in the world, with 2,000 customers per day. Half of those customers come from outside the Vatican for medicines that are unavailable in Italy or difficult to find. The current director of the pharmacy is Binish Thomas Mulakal, also a Fate Bene Fratelli monk. The pharmacy is run by a team of 69 people, including 7 religious and 53 lay pharmacists. The pharmacy sells medicines and products that are effective, safe, ethical, and respectful of the Church's teaching. It does not sell products that are contrary to Catholic social teaching, such as contraceptives or abortifacients. The pharmacy also sells rare herbal remedies, ointments, and elixirs, some of which the monks make. However, the pharmacy is open only to those with a special card, such as cardinals, diplomats, and journalists, and has a long waiting list. As Vatican City has no taxes, the pharmacy is duty-free. If you ever need a medicine that is hard to get or want to try something different, visit the Vatican Pharmacy and see what they offer. You might find a cure for your ailment or a blessing for your soul. Please let me know your thoughts on this video in the comments section. You can also support this channel by liking, sharing, and clicking the subscribe button below. Bye for now.